I try to explain to Summer that the Summer and Kelly characters are completely clinical and not emotional. No, they have that component to their personality. I can't say that because the Kelly character's in a constant state of heightened reality. She overreacts to anything. Just has a completely, yeah, there was this thing that girl Cheryl put on Facebook this morning. It was Johnny Depp in Pirates of the Caribbean, and it said, I've never been exposed to your specific brand of crazy, but I have to admire your commitment to it.
I had a dream about him last week.
I'm sure a lot of girls did.
I don't know why.
You probably saw it. Well, we were talking about him,
Maybe
remember?
that's why.
Oh, I love Johnny Depp. If you said who are the best actors, well, no, not the best, but if you said who are your favorite actors, I would say Sean Penn, Johnny Depp, Robert Redford, and Cary Grant. Who?
Robert Redford, I don't know.
And if Stacy sees this, she's going to freak. Robert Redford. You never saw that movie Electric Horseman? I told you to watch it though. Anyway, we're going to get back to the other video. Alright, so what was the question?
Sarah wants to know why you should use treats.
Oh, okay, this was the girl that was told by the trainer not to use food.
Yeah.
Alright, well, and that, that is a good question. And there are people out there telling people, and they've got various reasons. Apparently that one girl has a 15-minute video about why they don't use food. I think any video about why we don't use food would be very short. That's got to be the shortest chapter in the dog training book, why we don't use food. And the reason is because we don't know what we're doing. If you're training companion dogs and you're not using food, you'd have to say to yourself, and this is why you've got to use food, you guys. First off, you have to say to yourself, what would make me interesting to a dog? And if your response is because dogs love me, I'm going to be honest with you, that's painful. And that's definitely not coming at it from the behaviorist viewpoint. Because then you're saying this animal's commitment, if you were a trainer and trying to say that, and this animal's commitment and is doing this out of its actual innate love for you, my question would be, how are you going to transfer that, to anybody else? So that's not, and the reason you've got to use food is there's one reason. There's a reason and there's a task and there's a subtask. There's a reason and there's a sub-reason. The number one reason is all great dog trainers train dogs that are in drive. That's why people like clicker trainers and frisbee dogs, except the dogs are in drive. So the perception is it's having fun. But the problem is that training doesn't go across the board either, because those dogs have retrieve drive and a specific kind of retrieve drive. So all great, and if you find a great dog trainer that says that isn't true, I'd like to know who they are, because I know a lot of great dog trainers and they would all agree with that statement. All great dog trainers train in drive. So in companion dogs, the only universal drive that there's going to be is food drive. And if you said all companion dogs don't have food drive, I would say yes, they do, unless it's just some real skinny dog with anorexia. They all, or that would be like saying no humans have food drive. Jesus, you can't open a restaurant fast enough, these people are flocking in there. That's what we do for entertainment around here, right, Summer? We go to restaurants and are notoriously dissatisfied with the service. No, we don't complain. We don't complain at all. Maybe we're too clinical at the restaurant too. I'm a notoriously good tipper. Not at that place I wasn't, not that last place we went. And that machine was trying to make us tip. That's the one where they don't even have, the waiter doesn't even come to your table. You pay on the iPad or whatever that's at your table. The one the baby almost threw on the floor. Thank God. Our bill would have been a lot less. That's why we can't go to those places. Too dangerous for a baby. This baby could have thrown this thing right on the floor. You know, yeah, he couldn't throw down that waiter, but he could throw that thing. Am I wrong? Yeah, that's probably why his little toy phone broke. We got to get him another one. It was only like $10. We need to get him another one. Anyway, that's what you guys have to think of. That's why you've got to use Food Drive. And if the dog doesn't have Food Drive, you better acquire the skill of how to build Food Drive. There is a particular look. There's a particular look. And dogs that are conditioned in Drive are going to have that look a lot more. Dogs that aren't conditioned in Drive have the potential to not have that look at all. And I see dogs. You can go on people's training pages on Facebook and look at the faces of the dogs, the expressions of the dogs. So, and then they'll be the ones that explain why they don't use food, and it's like, you don't have to explain to me. Explain it to the dog. You know, you would need to explain to this dog, you know, why it should be interested in you. I do not kid myself. You know, there's going to be various reasons dogs are going to find you interesting. You know, and not all of them positive. I mean, there's dogs that find people on bicycles very interesting, in a predatory way. You know, so interesting isn't always, you know, you want them to be interested in you in the right way. And if you can find a great dog trainer that says all trainers don't train and drive, I don't believe you. And I'm very committed to my, belief on these things because I am, I'm not kidding myself that you have got to have, and I will tell you that's a big thing that we see, that these dogs just find these owners. I had to tell Joshua and Jessica that when they first brought Mac and Luna. I said, your praise means nothing to these dogs. You can say that all day long. It means nothing to them. They're so uninterested in you that you saying good really, I guess it is kind of like the Dave thing. You say great all you want. It really doesn't affect them, And I mean, I would say that's pervasive. That is pervasive. The dog will be interested in the person for the first 10 minutes. Certain personality types where they'll frenetically jump all over. And basically that's what you call ritualistic behavior. What happens is they interpret the ritualistic behavior for love and reciprocate the ritualistic behavior, hence making it even more ritualistic. So now you have a frenetic dog that whines and claws and jumps all over the person for it usually doesn't last more. It's about a 4 to 6 minute thing, if that. Some of them not even that long. Some of it's a quick ritual, less than a minute, and they're gone. Wham, bam, goodbye. And then they're not interested in the person at all. Or situationally, they're not interested in them, like at their house, where they want to get out the door. How often do we hear that one somewhere? Oh, the door left open and it just took off. Well, yeah, I don't lock the gate, and Summer just doesn't just take off. I mean, Crystal used to do that, but I mean, other people don't. I mean, you don't have to, they want you've got to have motivations. You've got to be realistic. It isn't, we know enough about behavioral science. No, it isn't. And yeah, I was raised too on, Call of the Wild and Lassie Come Home. They didn't seem to give Lassie any treats. I didn't see Lassie getting any treats, and they did it because they wanted to do it. And I do think that's, a myth that, there's my friend Flicka too. I mean, they could just, this horse, no bridle, nothing. Just like that one rescue horse that after a week with no training, you could ride it with no bridle. So it did lead people to believe. I used to watch it all the time. That was on every week. Lassie every week. Oh, they could never have Lassie now. What's he barking at? That's my deaf bulldog. Let me see if I can signal him over here. Oh, she's trying to get my attention. You better.
Oh, yeah.
He sees Tootsie,
Or
Max. He's spooky. Anyway, guys, that's why you've got to use food. And, you know, if you said I'm a dog trainer that uses food, obviously you would want to be the type that could get them the most interested as possible. You know, and again, if you're training dogs with electronic collars, honestly, not even electronic collars, any collar, you're going to shut dogs down with a pinch collar. You can shut them down with a clicker by just being so damn boring you can't even get their attention. That's what I've seen. I'm going to show a couple of those clicker videos just so she can kind of understand it. You know, that's the reality. If you're going to be a successful companion dog trainer that's going to be able to develop methodologies, you're going to have to use food. Until you can move to a place like Mark's at, where you have high drive retrievers, that you're going on that. That's what they're training on. That's what they're going on. And that's all prey drive for birds. There are some dogs that have, almost without a doubt, though, I think we can, in fact, text Mark right now and text Mark and say true or false. Just put true or false. He'll know what that means. And then just put yeah. Just put most, if not all, field trial dogs have a high prey drive. Because there's a difference between retrieve drive and prey drive. And they need to
have a
have
high food drive?
no
Or
prey.
drive?
No, prey, prey.
Okay.
He was supposed to be like thumbs up or something. He watches that. He watches the understanding board. As soon as I put that Bill Hellman thing on here, he made me take it off. You know, he should know. I'm not even easy to control. I'm not even easy to control, and you know, only because I, knew the right thing to say. All right, I will let you guys know what he said. So that's if you're not using food, you need to rethink that immediately. And get food. These guys that train with e-collars, anybody that trains with e-collars without food in dogs that they're not in drive is a terrible trainer. That's the reality. Any trainer that doesn't train in drive is a terrible trainer. I don't know if that's true as much as the statement, all great trainers train in drive. So that's how you have to decide, who am I going to be? Somebody that, feels like a dog has to do something for me without any motivation other than my love. That's not realistic. That is not realistic. And you're not, well, yeah, especially if it's not your dog. Even if it is your dog, the monster make, and they've already made monsters out of these things. You need to help them understand how to do it. All right, guys, we're just babbling. Gotta go train dogs.